If you ever plan to visit the dinosaur capital of the world, I'm talking about Drumheller, Alberta. You might also want to set your GPS for a little hamlet about 25 minutes away from there called Rosebud. It's only got about 100 people, although throughout the year it's a place where hundreds and hundreds more congregate for the sake of the arts. I'm talking about Rosebud Center of the Arts and Rosebud Theater, which is a destination in itself. Well, we had the chance to reach out to its artistic director, Morris Ertman, to find out all about this magical little place. So, Morris, can you maybe give us a little brief history of the Rosebud Theater? What is it? What's it all about?
Well, we're a theater company located in a small town an hour east of Calgary. It's a town of 100 people. It started out uh, 35 years ago as a fundraiser. The theater started as a fundraiser for Rosebud School of the Arts, which had been established before then, and they started putting on plays to raise money for the school, and people came. This is before my time, and people came. And when I arrived in 2001. The theater was playing for 25,000 people every year. 3 shows, 25,000 people coming to Rosebud from across the province and beyond. And it's a destination theater that now has now we do 5 shows a year, plus 2 student shows, plus a student dance show. And it's a fully professional company now. We hire actors and we have a resident company of actors and teachers, and we incorporate students. So it's exploded over the years, but it's something that it's a theater that captured the imagination of Albertans.
That's so cool. So little tiny Rosebud, population 100, suddenly multiplies when you have a show.
It sure does. It's on a summer show that's selling out on a Saturday, our population of under 100 turns into 600 people.
Ah, cool.
With 500 patrons coming from across the province. And I'm rounding the numbers up a little bit, of course. But,
of course. Well,
so all of a sudden, it's just filled with energy. Yeah?
Definitely. And it's putting Rosebud on the map, that's for sure. What is your involvement in the theater?
Well, I'm the artistic director of the theater. So my job is to program plays and hire artists and put together the teams that make the plays, and I direct a fair number of the plays as well. And so my job is programming and connecting with the audience and listening to people and finding out how people are responding to the shows and trying to keep your finger on what's current and what's possible for us here. And I don't know, mostly my job is to love the theater and get to pick plays that we want to do as a company.
So what's the mission of the Rosebud Theater?
The mission is to produce plays that illustrate beauty and coming together and grace and hope and possibility. And another part of our mandate as a theater is to also train the next generation of theater artists. So not only are we presenting plays that are hopeful in nature, that are about coming together, that are about including everybody and welcoming everybody, we're also training young artists to become all that they can be and to go out into the world and do what they need to do. So that's really why we exist.
That's so cool. So what are some of the highlights that Rosebud Theater brings to the community?
It's interesting because practically speaking, we have some really, really wonderful bed and breakfasts here in town. And we're like it's a little like the company town. In the sense that we're the economic engine of Little Rosebud, and there are these marvelous B&Bs and everything else that, of course, are serve our patrons when they come. So that's one of the things that we provide. And then the other thing, I we opened a show here on Friday. We brought in a show called "Tomatoes Tried to Kill Me, but Banjos Saved My Life," and it's our first time back on the stage. Since last Christmas when we tried to open for a couple of weeks, and talking to patrons as they were having their meal. People are just so grateful to come back because there's something about the feeling of coming to the theater in a little place like this that I think is magical for people. And there's something about the accessibility of the fact of the matter is that you're going to bump into the actor that performed in the show because the place is so small. And so there are all these connections that people have to the performers here. And it kind of feels like our audience is family because of how small we are, right? So that's a highlight in general of, I think, what we deliver here. And I think what we receive. I mean, what group of artists gets to receive that? To have that connection with the audience that's that intimate.
That's
Yeah.
so cool. It's like a symbiotic relationship a little bit. So, how have you guys been able to handle the challenges during COVID? That must have been hard because it sounds like you guys are very connected and you need that connection with the audience and everything. Must have been very challenging.
Yeah, it has been. And we've really survived the last 20 months because of the kindness and the generosity of patrons and donors that have helped to keep us afloat. And a remarkable board of governors who have, made decisions and done things to help keep us afloat. And I have to say that it's also our staff. We had to do temporary layoffs just to stay afloat because most of our income comes from ticket sales, and when you can't sell tickets, we've got a problem. And so really it's been because of the goodwill of a lot of people that we've survived. And we've had to had to scale back. And the school, though, Rosebud School of the Arts, the actual teaching part of what we do has continued through this time. And we were lucky enough, because we're small, to have what's called a cohort, and we could do in-person classes. And so, last spring, we produced a student production that we hoped maybe we could open for an audience, and we wound up, of course, broadcasting it like everybody else has had to do.
Right.
And so there's been a big learning curve, but that's how we've survived.
Yeah, but the students and the actors must have absolutely loved it because it got them back out on the stage, so to speak. It got them back acting. That's awesome. Now, what's the capacity of the theater? I'm picturing it really tiny because the town is tiny, but you're saying it can hold a lot of people, it sounds like.
Well, we have two theaters that we one is called the Rosebud Opera House. It's 230 seats, so still not a big theater. Still feels intimate, but 230 seats. And the other theater is our BMO Studio Stage, and it's a really intimate black box theater, which means that it's a black box with lights, and we can seat about 70 people in that theater. And so we have two theaters that we program for, and that's what they're like.
Okay, awesome. So, what do you guys? What's on the horizon for the theater? The coming this fall and winter. Any theater productions planned?
Yeah, we're right now we have running this show called "Tomatoes Tried to Kill Me, but Banjos Saved My Life." And what's so great about it is that it's the author is performing the show, He's not an actor. He's a man who made his life in business. And I mean, his story's amazing. It's all about a guy who finds the miracle of his heart, really, by learning how to play the banjo after he retires from business. And it's really a moving and really interesting and really entertaining show. So that's running right now. And then in November, we'll open A Christmas Carol for Christmas. And that's starring Nathan Schmidt, who is one of our resident actors, and he's beloved and an incredible performer. And he tells the whole story as a streetwise storyteller. And but it's a visually stunning show that's got all these these beautiful woodcut etchings of Victorian England, and they move, and he moves through them, and he tells this story, and he's remarkable. And that's opening at Christmas time, and we're in plans, of course, for 2022, and hope to in a few weeks announce our 2022 season. And we're stepping forward in faith that we're going to be able to do 2022. That COVID is not going to take us out. But I'm optimistic about that. It'll be about the size of our audience. It'll be about capacity, but we'll step forward with a full season of plays in 2022.
I think that's everybody's hope for 2022. No matter who you talk to.
Yeah, it sure is.
Definitely. Now, do you guys have a website if anyone's interested in buying tickets to your shows?
Yeah, just go to rosebudtheater.com, and you'll be able to purchase tickets. Right now these shows are we've chosen to run them at half capacity so that we can have some physical distancing in the theater. And of course, like everybody else, we have to have people have to be have had their vaccine or a negative COVID test to be able to come. And of course, our staff is that way as well. It's good to be open, though, boy.
Oh, definitely. Where do you see the theater in the future? I know you're remaining very optimistic and hopeful, but any long range plans there?
Well, 2023 is the anniversary year of the start of Rosebud School of the Arts as an organization when Laverne Erickson started it as a summer arts camp for high school students. So we're going to put on a splash of a season that's going to celebrate the roots of this place, and I hope just pack the house. I want to pack the house in 2022, but in 2023 we're looking forward to a big celebration. And then beyond that, we have lots of dreams. We have dreams about a concert series. Oh, the other thing, something very important. Next summer, and this started during COVID, we had outdoor summer concerts every weekend. We brought in acts, folk acts, and different kind of acts, and they played on an outdoor stage. Next summer, we're going to continue that. But now, when you come to Rosebud on the weekend, you'll be able to see a play in the Opera House stage, play on the studio stage, a concert on our this gorgeous outdoor concert stage that we've got right next to the Opera House, and stay in a beautiful B&B, and you can make a weekend out of it. And we hope to sort of expand that kind of programming over the next number of years so that when people come here, they can make a trip and take in a lot of wonderfulness.
Morris Ertman, Artistic Director for the Rosebud Theater, thank you so much for being here today and for sharing with us.
Well, thanks for having me.
I'm Jeanette Roche. On behalf of all of us here at Bridge City News, thanks for watching.